righty. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Nicole Waters, Acting Manager for Newcastle County's Department of Community Development and Housing. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the life-changing Newcastle County Hope Center. Thanks for coming to celebrate this joyous press event showcasing the fiscal year 23 Congressionally Directed Spending Community Project Funding Grant Award. This generous award of $750,000 will support Hope Center capital improvements, including roof repairs, and fund our shuttle van transportation services. It truly takes a village of warriors and supporters, both on-site and off-site, to operate this facility. I'd like to recognize a few of those warriors and supporters assembled here today. Senator Carper, I believe Senator Coons, Congresswoman Blunt Rochester, County Executive Meyer, Housing Alliance Director Rachel Stucker, Delaware State Housing Authority Deputy Director Cynthia Carney, Director of Federal Government Affairs and Policy for Christiana Care Jeff Heath, Dr. Anthony Mark Tramatozzi from Christiana Care, Bishop and Dawn Broughton, owner and CEO of Grace Transportation, our HUD Field Office Director Maria Bynum, HUD Regional Administrator Matt Heckles, and all those who work in any capacity here at the Hope Center. Thank you all for your enormous efforts and support. We'd cease to exist without you. Thank you. And now, I'd like to turn the mic over to Delaware's sole member of the House of Representatives, Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester. Enjoy the program.
Thank you, Nicole. I'm going to move these a little bit. Well, again, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. It is an honor and a real privilege for me to be standing before you as we make this announcement. And I guess I want to first just start by thanking everyone at the Hope Center. It feels good to be here. It feels so good to be here. To the residents who came and introduced themselves and who we had some conversations, to the staff and the leadership, to Carrie Casey in her absence, who has just been such a true leader, such a passionate leader. We say thank you. And protocol already having been established by Nicole, I will not run through the list of all of the different partners and players who were mentioned. She mentioned the fact that it takes a village, and as I was standing over here with the Hope Center team, that same sentiment was echoed, and someone else mentioned that it takes team, and I said we need to come up with something new and different. We talk about it takes a village, and it does. We talk about it takes teamwork, and it does. And then I said, maybe it takes two to make a thing go right. Some of you know what I'm talking about. And so this, and it takes two, it's out of sight. This is out of sight. So I am so excited to be with you. And these funds that we are announcing today are instrumental in strengthening where we're standing today, also in the transportation system, for approximately 100 people to use daily for the Hope Center. I thought about the fact that it's interesting, it's actually raining. And one of the big things about this $750,000 federal funding, I'm gonna say that again, $750,000 federal funding, is that it is really here to, again, take into account investments to make sure that this facility is used in the best way that it can be used. And so we were standing over here in this corner and I said, oh yeah, I understand that you need fixes to the roof. And they said, yes, we're standing in one of the puddles right now, right there in that corner. So the thought that these funds will be able to make more space available, more people will be able to live here and work here, and more pets will be able to be here as well, which is also something special about the Hope Center. Is really incredible. I would also just say that it's 26,000 square feet that we're talking about in terms of the roof, And then the funding for transportation. We'll invest in drivers, gas, and maintenance to keep up for the Newcastle County vans to be running and for the service of this incredible, the Broughton team that is right here in front of us. Yes. And I was really fortunate because the senators, we work as a team. We are teamwork. This truly is teamwork makes the dream work. And for us in the House, we got a very limited number of really great projects that we could submit for this funding. We were allowed to submit 15 projects, and we got over 100 applications. 100. But the Hope Center met the two main criteria for this money. Number one, you have to show a significant need. We know that housing is a need. We know that in our state, we, the county executive, all of us are working to build accessible, affordable, quality housing. But we also know that people may have a transition, just like my family did when I was a little girl in Philly, living in the Champlain projects. Transition, stability, foundation. That's what this is about. So we chose the Hope Center as one of our projects because it demonstrated a community need, but it also demonstrated real community support. Not just one organization, but the whole community, including healthcare like Christiana Care, and recognizing that if you are not well, if you're living somewhere where you can't take care of your health, you can't live a full quality life. And so all of the different partners made this one stand out above many. And so we want to congratulate the Hope Center for that. And then the other word that really came to mind beyond hope is stability, a foundation. Some of us know that song, My Hope is Built on Nothing Less. Hello.
Amen. Amen.
But it talks about a foundation. You can't build a house without a foundation. You need stability. Kids need stability so that they can learn. I need a place to dress and prepare myself if I'm going to work. Stability. My mental health, if I'm out on the street and I don't know where my next paycheck or my next meal is coming from, I am on shaky ground. So what the Hope Center represents is hope and stability and a future for people. It's a future. And so I am just pleased to be with my co-partners in this effort for our physical health, our mental health, our housing, our education. All of these things are tied up in housing. And I am so pleased to be partnered with so many of you in this effort. We just released a jobs agenda in May, and included in that jobs agenda of our bills was housing, because we know it's connected to everything. I'm thankful to the Hope Center. I'm thankful to all of the partners. I'm grateful that I got a chance to be in a position where I could actually do something to make a change, to have impact, and get some money, 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 money. This must be one of these. I must be feeling musical today. But this is such a great day, and I'm so glad to be a part of it. And it is my honor to introduce one of the champions in this trio. A lot of times he says Chris Coons and I are his wing people, and that's because he's an eagle and he likes to soar. And so I would love it if you would all give a great round of applause for our senior senator, Tom Carper.
Another nice round of applause for Lisa Blunt Rochester. How many of you speak Spanish? Raise your hand. How many have ever heard the word congresista? I led a congressional delegation to Central America. We went together a couple of years ago. Everywhere we went, They call me Senator the Door. And what do they call you? Congressista. Let me hear you say Congressista. Come on, you can better that. Congressista. There you go. Let me hear you say. Chris Coons. Okay. Let me hear you say Albert Einstein. Go ahead, Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein used to say a lot of things. One of the things he used to say, in adversity lies opportunity. In adversity lies opportunity. Let me hear you say, in adversity lies opportunity. For years, I would drive up and down I-95, sometimes going to Newark, sometimes going back to Wilmington, sometimes heading downstate. And I would go by this hotel that had been built right along I-95 and finished, and just sat there year after year after year. And apparently the people who built it didn't abide by the rules in terms of setbacks and space and all the kind of criteria that Senator Coons probably understands better than I do, because he's a former county executive. But anyway, just nothing happened here. And Carrie Casey, whom I literally met going into the YMCA, the Central YMCA, a million years ago on Halloween Day. And she was on the staff. She was at the front desk, and she was the nail princess. She had her nails done up, and she would look like a princess. And she caught my eye. And later on, she would become a member of my staff, and she would become my scheduler and tell me where to go when I was governor. You can go to, you can figure that out. You can go to whatever. And later on, as a senator, she became our Newcastle County director. And then left me, just deserted me, and went over to go to work in the county, and with Chris, and the rest is history. She called me on the phone a couple of years ago, and said, "I have an idea. Some people think it's a crazy idea, but I have an idea, and I need to just bounce it off to somebody who I know will give it to me straight." And I said, "What is it?" She said, "There's an abandoned hospital, hotel that actually was never occupied on I-95. I said, "I know the one you mean." And she said, I'm thinking about a project, turning it into transitional housing. The people who live there would get help in finding work, support for themselves, their families, some access to health care, access to transportation. And rather than just treat the symptoms of the problems, we'll actually treat the underlying cause of problems. And I said, I'm in. And she said, let's do it. And she did it. And she did it with the help of a whole lot of people. Our congressional delegation helped, and the rest is history. I like to say, I used to think this was in the Bible. Give a person a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a person to fish, you can feed him for a lifetime. I said for years that was in the Bible. It wasn't. A minister once said to me after he said it in his speech, he said, "That's not in the Bible." And I said, "Well, it should be." And one of the things we do here at Hope House is literally sort of teach people to fish, and so they can feed themselves and their families for a long time to come. We have a shared responsibility to meet the requirements of Matthew 25, the least of these. When I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was naked, did you clothe me? When I was sick and in prison, did you visit me? Doesn't really say anything about it when I didn't have a roof over my head, or I was living in my car, I was living under a bridge. Did you do anything about it? But we have the moral imperatives there, and it's not one that the federal government needs to should meet by itself. It's not one that the state or the county needs to meet by themselves. It's not one that we just, as taxpayers or folks who just want to be supportive of nonprofits. It's a shared responsibility for all of us. One of the great things about this project, it's an opportunity for all of us to join together and help people help themselves. I'll close with this. I don't know about you, when I travel around the country, people say, "What do you do?" And I just tell them I help people. And they say, "Why?" And I say, "It makes me happy." And when I travel to people, I say, "What gives you joy in your life?" And almost everybody says, "I like helping people. I like helping people." And one of the beauties about this particular project is it enables people to help themselves. You ask most people in this country, you line up 100 people, 1,000 people, say, "What is congressionally directed spending?" People say, "I have no idea. I have no idea." You ask most people, like, "What's an earmark?" Some people actually know what an earmark is. An earmark is the opportunity to go through, the Appropriations Committee to go through and say, how about taking some money out of this particular pot of money and put it for this particular purpose? We had earmarks for years. They were actually abused by members of the Appropriations Committee before people like Coons got involved and straightened things out. But we have replaced earmarks, sometimes abused, with congressionally directed spending, which is just a great, if it isn't perfect, make it better. We've made it a whole lot better. And today we're pleased to announce that $750,000, let me hear you say $750,000. $750,000 in congressionally directed spending in order to help make people's dreams come true, help people feed themselves, support themselves, and support their families. None of this would have happened without the great support of we have an appropriator. I'm on several committees. Lisa's on several committees. She's on the most important committee in the House, the Energy and Commerce Committee. I serve on a bunch of committees as well, chair a couple. But Coons is on the Appropriations Committee. And when we submit ideas for congressionally directed spending, modern day earmarks, one of the key people in making sure that it happens, that we get our fair share, and the money goes to projects that really are needed and appropriate, is Coons. Coons, give him your love. Give him a great round of applause. Don't stand up. And tell him you love him. Coons. All right, Chris. All right, buddy.
Hope. Hope is one of the most foundational human needs and values. It is so wonderful that after the long and storied and complex history of this building, it is today the Hope Center. I am so grateful to my congressional colleagues, to Congresswoman Blunt Rochester, who really led this CDS effort, and my senior Senator Tom Carper, who's been an advocate for housing throughout his decades of service to the state of Delaware. To County Executive Matt Meyer, who is leading the county, and Carrie Casey and Nicole Waters, who helped bring heart to this place and who had the vision for this remarkable way to spend emergency funding from the federal government. To Bishop Broughton and Pastor Dawn Broughton, who are not just leading a community of faith, but through transportation, through Grace Transportation, are connecting people and providing opportunity. God bless you. To Christiana Care Community Education Building, Faithful Friends, and dozens of other partners who help make this a place not just of temporary shelter, but of community and support. To Matt Heckles and to Maria Bynum, thank you for bringing Secretary Fudge here and for what you do to lead HUD Region 3, but in many ways, most importantly, to LaToya Brown and to everyone who is a guest here at the Hope Center. Thank you for being willing to share your story with us and for being the purpose that brings us all together here today and week in and week out, year in and year out. We as a delegation are just coming from a challenging meeting with another housing provider. One of the things we shared in that meeting, and I'll share here, is that in our congressionally directed spending, we have made housing a shared core priority year after year after year. If, God willing, we appropriate successfully again this year, we will again put tens of millions of federal dollars, additional dollars, into housing. Housing is the foundation. Decades ago, I worked in New York with a man named Bob Hayes, who founded the National Coalition for the Homeless. Bob had a saying which is as simple and relevant today as it was decades ago: housing, housing, housing. If you want to fix safety and security, you need housing. If you want to fix public health, you need housing. If you want children to thrive, you need housing. If you want seniors to age in dignity, you need housing. If you want a community to come together, you need housing. It is the platform, the foundation on which everything else in human society thrives. If you don't have safe, sanitary, secure, accessible, and affordable housing, you have nothing. It is the most foundational need. If you don't have a place where you are supported, where you are safe, where you're in from the elements, you have nothing. But if you have housing, it can be the foundation on which everything else builds. And if it is housing that isn't just a shelter from the storm, but is a community, is a place where services come together from across all different streams, now you've really got something. You've got hope. As we read in Scripture, but as many of us know just from human experience, without hope, we have almost nothing else. And often the people who arrive here are, yes, critically in need of housing, but they're also in need of hope. Hope comes from being seen, from being known, from being loved, from being recognized as a fellow human being. One of the things that struck me most, serving with homeless folks in New York decades ago, was the extent to which they were deeply in pain from an absence of housing, yes, from stability and security, but also the pain of being passed by on the street over and over and over, of being ignored, of being treated as if they were less than human, of not being seen. So, to those who have helped create this Hope Center, thank you for sharing hope, a hope that is rooted in seeing others, in knowing them, and in loving them. And LaToya, thank you in a moment for sharing your story that helps ground our work. What Newcastle County did when they decided to buy this building with millions of dollars of pandemic money was bold. CARES Act money helped the county to address a sudden, unexpected, dramatic change in housing need across our county, our country, and our world. But you've also helped with other unexpected crises, whether it was Hurricane Ida or 8 families displaced from Adams Street, or it's refugees who've come here from Ukraine, from Afghanistan, from El Salvador, from Tanzania, thanks to Jewish Family Services. So it is worth remembering that this place, which was for so long haunting us on the margins of I-95, or in my case, causing enormous strain as we litigated our way through the mess that was this hotel. To have it today be this center of hope is a remarkable gift to all of us. So to the folks who helped make that happen, thank you. Today we're celebrating $750,000, which in no small part goes to a new roof. A roof over one's head is, at the end of the day, the foundation of what shelter means. But it's not just a roof. It's transportation, it's mobility, it's engagement, it's care. 261 households, if I have it right, have found their way from the Hope Center back to housing, to stability, to community, and into a more permanent solution to the temporary challenges that landed them here. That's also worth celebrating. Not every story ends well, but the story of this building has landed in a wonderful place. It has gone into its next chapter well. Not every family has an easy or clear or straightforward path from beginning to stability. But it is through these doors in this place and through the open arms of the people who provide services and support here that folks who are temporarily having the hardest times often they've ever had move forward to being embraced, loved, and given hope. And this year, we hope to provide another $1.9 million through the congressionally directed spending process, should it, God willing, come to a successful conclusion to further support this place. You know, if you haven't watched a little film, there's a film about this place. And it managed to win an Emmy, which is truly remarkable. It wasn't featured in this year's Emmys, it was featured in last year's Emmys. But when it comes to the Emmy for leadership, this year's Emmy goes to County Executive Matt Meyer.
Folks, I'm going to be in Sussex County in an hour and 15 minutes. Do you think I can make it? Got a Tesla outside, Tesla Y. It'll go fast. We'll find out. See you all later. Congratulations.
No speeding in Newcastle County, all right? And once you get to Kent, it's up to you. Thank you, Senator Carper. Thank you. Can we give him another round of applause? Thank you for his leadership for decades for our state. Senator Coons, I didn't hear much you said about me, but I did hear you say $1.9 million. Everybody heard that? You heard that? 1.9 million. Thank you, Nikisha. I wrote it in pen, not in pencil. And Representative Blunt Rochester, thank you as always for coming to sing in the rain. It's really appreciated. You know, it's great to be in Delaware, where when you turn on the national news, you feel like we're insulated a little bit. You look at some exciting things going on in Dover, and you see the incredible things going on in this building, and I like to think across our county. And a lot of the things you hear and see on TV, you feel like aren't going on here. But we need to recognize that to get this $750,000, these three individuals had to fight that fight, and they're on the front lines of that fight. There are numerous colleagues of theirs who I'm sure they can name, but I'm not going to, who would do anything to make sure this $750,000 did not come here. There are colleagues who don't want this roof repaired, and they certainly don't want people who look like the people that stay here getting the benefit and reaping the reward of America. So it's because of the courage, the leadership of these three people that we are here today. So let's give them another round of applause. In September of 2020, Renee Beam and Carrie Casey, along with Nicole Waters, came to me with a crazy idea that originated out of a committee we put together to look at the experience of vulnerable communities during COVID. And their crazy idea is they wanted to buy a hotel somewhere and turn it into a shelter. The state at the time, to the governor's credit, was housing people in motels and hotels on a temporary basis. But they were run like traditional shelters where you come at night, there's a cutoff time, you often had to leave in the morning, and even when you didn't, people were staying there and there weren't many services to assist. And so the idea of Carrie and Nicole and Renee, along with their Committee on Vulnerable Communities, was to create a place that maybe for the first time just listened to the most vulnerable people walking in and said, what are your problems and what do you need? And putting it all in one place. And so I said, let's do it. And it got to the newspaper that we were bidding on this Sheridan, and I was shocked, quite honestly, by how much I was bombarded by calls from leaders in the community, from elected officials, no one seated up here, who said, Matt, don't do it. Don't do it. That's a lot of money to spend on those people. Don't do it. We plowed forward with a good plan. We went ahead, thanks to the work actually of Michael Smith, Will Davis in my office, along with Marcus Henry, who then ran community services. We were able to dot all the I's and cross all the T's. And on December 1st, we closed on this purchase. We had a plan then. I was presented a plan to open this place within 2 or 3 months. But the problem was it was going into the dead of winter. And I looked at Carrie Casey one day and I said, if this is a crisis, we have days to open this facility, not months. And we partnered with Hersha Hospitality, who actually ran this place, managed this place when it was the Sheridan. And we kept them on. And we brought in Ken Eppiheimer, who's here in Friendship House. And I told them 3 things. I said, there are 3 things this place must be. Everyone walking in, every single person, whether they're staffing here, whether they're volunteering, whether they're coming here to live, they need to be treated with dignity in every way. There are many people here who are not treated with dignity before they enter these doors. They need to be treated with dignity in every way. Second of all, is this place had to be safe and secure. We have an exercise in my office. Anytime we do something outside the box and crazy, we have to do a whiteboard and write down everything that can possibly go wrong. And when you write down everything that can possibly go wrong, Kim, one of the top things on the list are dangers, are things that cause problems to people's health and security. And so we needed to make sure this place was safe and secure. And the third thing that was vitally important is I wanted it to be beautiful. I wanted people to walk in just as they'd walk into weddings at the Sheridan and say, wow, this is great. It's easy to say that. That costs money. Making this place beautiful costs money. Making sure you don't stand in a place in the lobby and get dripped on costs money. Making sure Bishop and Dawn Broughton can work 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. to make sure individuals can get to and from here, can go to work from here, can get their laundry done, go to laundromats and get their groceries done from here. Takes money. And it's great to know that the county taxpayer does not need to fund this place alone. Senator Coons gave you a lot of the statistics to date, or as of, I think, last Friday, 2,533 individuals. 2,533 individuals have spent at least one night here. 2,533 people. I taught, yeah, that's, this is Delaware. I think that's like half our population. 69 pets have lived here. 22 babies have been born here. Individuals who lived here are from age of 0 birth to 88 years old. There have been 1,000 medical visits in the Hope Center. I know Bettina Rivera's and her team from Christiana Care are here. The partnerships are vitally important. You think about Christiana Care for a minute. What Christiana Care and our hospital system is doing is they're partnering with the Hope Center to create value for everyone across our community. So if you go to an emergency room, if you know of someone who goes to an emergency room, their wait is actually a little bit shorter because people are getting serviced here. The primary care needs that too many people are going to the emergency room for is being reduced. It's also providing tremendous savings for Christiana Care in terms of being able to release people into a safe, stable place where they get continuing care rather than holding them in a much more expensive and otherwise needed hospital room. So we thank them for their partnership. I mentioned Bishop and Dawn Brockton, who are here. They not only have provided our transportation for years and continue to provide it through Grace Transportation. Funds that are being made available today are going to help continue to provide that valuable service. You may not know that HOPE, when it comes to the Hope Center, is actually an acronym. We had to figure out, we didn't want it to be the old Sheridan or the homeless hotel. And Nicole Waters came to me and she said, let's call it the Hope Center. And for years I thought it was her idea, but it actually came from Bishop and Dawn Brockton. Homeless operations providing for everyone. Homeless operations providing for everyone. So it's really meaningful to me and to all of us that those who are actually providing every day are helping to add to the character of this place, the definition of what it is, the dignity of this place. There are various staff here. We're being used now as a national model. I got word through their Secretary of Housing and Urban Development the other day, thank you, Matt Heckles, that cities like Chicago and New York are interested in looking at the Hope Center as a model. And the first thing I tell anyone from outside who asks about the Hope Center is a lot of attention's paid to the hotel. The fact it was a hotel conversion. The fact it's a hotel conversion is secondary, except maybe when it comes to fixing the roof and what, right? The fact it was a hotel conversion is secondary. The magic of this place is the partnership and the staff. The partnerships and the staff. When you can bring the individuals in our community who are in this room now together to address the needs of our most vulnerable, there's nothing we cannot accomplish. You know, when I talk to residents here, I invariably come down to, but for the grace of God go I. You listen to the stories, whether it's refugees, as Senator Coons referenced, individuals who were paying their rent and suddenly evicted on Adams Street, or someone living their life doing great until a hurricane sweeps through and floods their home. Someone chronically homeless who just years and years ago had challenges, maybe the disease of mental health and substance use. And I thought of that this morning when I was talking to LaToya Brown, who's about to speak to us. LaToya worked at WSFS and lost her job. 5 months ago, her life had spiraled to a place where she simply needed a place to live and food to eat with her 5-year-old son. She ended up in the Hope Center and has gone through a process now, a rigorous process, where quite frankly, she's ready to leave. And like so many families who are here, so many individuals who are here, there's one impediment to moving on from the Hope Center, and that's the shortage of affordable housing. It's the shortage of affordable housing. So I particularly appreciate the Senator and Congresswoman and Senator's commitment to housing, to understand that this is, at some basic level, an affordable housing program. Getting through the program here is not easy. It takes a lot of work with our staff. It takes character from deep, deep inside, and quite a bit of courage to stand up and say, these are the things I need to work on. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the star of the day, mother of Jalen, LaToya Brown.
Hello and good morning, everyone. Please bear with me. I'm very nervous. I'm not the best at public speaking, but it's very important to me to share my story. My name's LaToya Brown, and I have been living at the Hope Center in Newcastle County, Delaware, with my 5-year-old son, Jalen, since January of this year. Before living here, I was actually living in my car because of losing my income from job loss and a failed relationship. Finding the Hope Center has been nothing but a blessing to me. They have plenty of programs here that can help you with your credit. They meet you where you are. And when you first come into the Hope Center, they actually help you put a plan in place to meet you where you're at in life to help you go on your way to secure housing. Living here since January with my son and having a place to sleep, it just gave me a peace of mind, guys. And having that peace of mind, it helped me tremendously. Because of Ms. Casey, the staff, my caseworker, Brittany, even all the way down to the security guards here, everyone has been pleasant. And like most of you guys have said, I felt seen after going through one of the hardest points in my life. So I just want to say, after living here, I went through every program with the credit, all the way to job resumes and workshops and matching my purpose and passions with a career for myself. I came here broken, now feel whole, I feel seen, and I'm so grateful to Ms. Casey, the staff, and everyone here. And now I'm finally on my last step, looking for housing. It's been a journey, but I'm here now, so I'm thankful to all of you listening to my story. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Brown. That was beautiful. And that's what the Hope Center is all about, to hear someone say that's the testimony. We want that for every single person that enters these doors. So it's been awesome. I just want to take this opportunity. Anyone who had a hand in this today, putting this event together, if you could please stand up. I know there's a lot, so I don't want to miss anyone's name, but the emails, the planning, the media, all that, if you could just stand up so we can all acknowledge you and give you a round of applause, because it takes a lot to do this. All right, job well done. Thanks again for joining us. We do have some tours scheduled if you would like to have a tour here. If not, you could hang around with us for a little bit. But safe travels and enjoy your holiday weekend. Thank you.